Hey everybody, this is Jesse Knox with Beast of Burden Podcast, brought to you by Doubletree Habitat. So this is kind of interesting. What we're doing here, I have two different things going on. We have an EQIP application, a fulfill EQIP program called Heavy Brush Management Under Invasive. You can see some of these multiflower rose and honeysuckle creeping in. The main goal is to use it to remove the invasive species and the cedar trees. And a lot of folks might be like, why are you taking out your cedar trees? Well, what we got here? Like, really, no wildlife value at all. Sure, deer pass through here quite a bit, but it's nothing to really break home about. So there's about 8 acres here. It's actually like a big triangle. As you can see, if you just look, that's all open. That's open all season long. The only thing that grows underneath there is two things: moss and invasives. Mother Nature does not like bare spots. And so what Mother Nature is going to do, and no matter how long it's going to take, she's going to allow invasive species like honeysuckle, multiflower rose, especially honeysuckle autumn mauve, to creep in, because honeysuckle can grow almost about anywhere, almost. So as soon as sunlight opens up, I'm going to have a bunch of honeysuckle that's going to creep in here. So I'm going to top of with backpack sprayer fire to keep it at bay. But that's kind of the consequence of letting this stuff go for so long. Like, this was not what Southeast Iowa used to look like. Southeast Iowa used to be oak savanna or remnant prairie. And so you can see up here, this whole canopy has closed everything off. And a lot of folks from the outside looking in would go, man, why would you take all that cover away? Well, as I just said, there's really no cover. Sure, from our point of view, it's decent cover. But from a whitetail's point of view, it's just like move in and move out. Don't hang on for too long. Look how open this is. I can see my neighbor's fence line, which is right over through there, right from here. That's not good cover. This is not, there's no browse. You really got to think about this stuff, guys. When you have a cedar thicket like this, you need to realize that if you're a fawn, think of a fawn's point of view. I mean, you're going to be as high as, let's just move this camera, that limb right there, that's kind of along the ground right there, that's how high a baby fawn is. So if a doe, let's say, for example, you have a high deer population, all the more dominant does that pick the best spots, and you're a doe, you have no other choice. But here, your fawn's pretty much good as dead, because a bobcat or a coyote or even a big coon or a wild dog, whatever, can come through here and have that fawn as lunch and dinner in one day. So you gotta think, it is not good nesting habitat for turkeys either. I mean, one might argue, sure, like where this multiflower rose and honeysuckle's at, that's okay. Well, no, it's not okay. I mean, it's wide open, and you have enough nest predator species moving through here. It's a narrow corridor. They're going to come right through here, find those eggs, they're done. Even if those eggs survive the hatch, this is not good breeding habitat. You know, breeding habitat, let's use our native blackberries right here. So if you can see, there's like a purple line. It's hard to see on my screen, but on the actual video, the color comes up way better. So if that was all through here, that'd be a lot better breeding habitat, because you'd have the soft maps in the blackberries, you'd have the flowering effect throughout the spring and summer before the berries produce. But those flowers are the pollinators that attract insects, which are crucial. It's absolutely crucial to have better, pardon me one second, guys, I'm trying to tighten this thing down. That's gonna be way better protein source. That's really critical for young turkey poults. Okay, so let's bring this guy back up here. So what I'm doing this program is, I actually decided to rent a mulcher, and it's a Fecon head. I don't know how much diameter I can actually do. There's a lot of big cedar trees in here, but one idea we talked about with other contractors is mulch the smaller trees the best you can, but then you can just run the mulcher up the trunk as high as you can to get the branches off. And that might seem really ridiculous. Why not drop the cedar trees? Well, if you have as much cedar tree experience as I do, they're really frustrating to drop. Like, obviously, a tree like this, how it's leaning, it's going to go that way. But like, say, a cluster of trees over here, you really don't know how they're going to fall. Sure, the one on the right might fall a certain way, but those other two, they might appear to be going one way, but it's a total wild card. So we may not be able to get a lot of trees mulched, but we might be able to make our job way easier, is just trim up the branches as high as we can, and then take the chainsaw behind and just drop them like poles. Because I think also the branches of cedar trees really screw up how the tree is going to fall. That's been a real big problem for contractors, is being able to mulch, drop cedar trees, because they don't drop very nice. Their branches, I think, really screw up how they're going to fall and how we predict their fall. It's dangerous. And this is only 8 acres, but there's a lot of mature cedar trees in here. All we can do is just try to trim up as much as we can, treat the machine gently and with respect, and we'll be able to cruise through here. But there's other invasives that are needing to be mulch, such as, like I said earlier, it's multiflower rose and honeysuckle. There's white mulberry in here. There's some younger honey locust we can drop. There's some younger elm we can drop. Elm's not really invasive, but it is definitely, I would consider, an undesirable shady species. And it's going to be real interesting because I have all this creek over here I got to traverse through, but there's flat spots I can use to get on their side, or worst case scenario, I can go on this side, drive around, go back to my field on the other side of this ridge and mulch around there if I really needed to. But we'll just see how all this stuff goes. And there's some areas are just inaccessible, no big deal. Once we mulch the majority of the area, we can just start dropping trees like crazy in those open areas. That's gonna be really good cover. I would rather mulch this anyway, try to do the best I can to mulch, because first of all, we haven't shown you yet, hopefully today I can, but the cedar trees we've cleared already, we sheared those because the basal area was so high, we were concerned it was gonna create a garden bed effect. Those are just really big piles. Again, they're harboring invasives, they're harboring nest predators like raccoons. But if we got rid of the branches in the first place, we just have poles on the ground, and also be just way less of a matchbox to worry about. I have a neighbor pretty close by who's got not a super combustible timber, but you gotta keep those in regards no matter what's over there. It could be corn, could be a dry hay field, could be more CRP, could be more oak timber. You gotta be conscientious of where future burns are going to occur at, excuse me, and what kind of residue you're going to leave behind, because you could have one wind change and everything, all that goes out the window. So the point is, we're going to try mulching to get this canopy open up, drop these cedar-like poles. They're going to take forever to break down, but however, it's going to be way more efficient to get, instead of having all these branches to break down, there's all that sunlight on the ground to help encourage our native response and young oak response. That's better than leaving all those shaded branches up. We can mulch that, drop on the ground. You have way more real estate for new breeding cover to occur, early successional to occur, and also young oak regeneration. Like this little baby, that looks like a shingle oak. I think we can see him right there. It's kind of blended in, but that guy's going to get way more sunlight. Not exactly a great crop tree, but it's a wonderful wildlife tree. Hopefully we're also going to try to concur a burn possibly this year on this side. We'll say how much moisture is in the wood of the cedar trees. And again, hopefully we can mulch majority of the cedar trees and just drop the big ones later. That would be way more productive than shearing or try to drop by hand, because drop by hand in here would just be a mess. And also, something to think about when you're dropping cedar trees, when you have cedar trees like this that are this thick, we have invasives in here. It's gonna be really hard to attack the invasives if you can't enter it. And also 8 acres solid might be beneficial for turkey. I'm not really sure. Maybe not, because it's so thick even poults can't get through. Not super beneficial, but also I think those invasive species you gotta battle later. You can see what kind of washouts we gotta deal with in southeast Iowa. So anyway, by being able to try to find the right words, guys. I apologize. Being able to mulch it instead of having a huge pile of cedar skeletons, which is a big matchbox, it is going to be a harbinger just as much of it's as standing versus on the ground of invasive species. And also, it's just going to be better habitat overall instead of having that big cluster of cedar skeletons on the ground. And I apologize, I'm aiming at the ground. But no, I'm really excited to see what the response is going to be. And we'll just keep you guys posted on the progress. It's supposed to come here Friday, so 2 days from now, and we'll see how things go.